Chosen one, stop right there. God smiled at you today. Did you feel it? A few hours ago, or maybe just moments before you clicked this video, something happened that made heaven pause and look at you with pure joy. God actually laughed, not a laugh of mockery, a laugh of victory, a laugh of a father watching his child finally get it. You might be thinking me, but I feel tired. I barely survived the day. That's exactly why you need to listen. You're judging your day by what you can see, by the tasks you didn't finish, by the problems still sitting on your plate. But God is judging your day by something completely different. He's looking at your heart, and what he saw today made him proud. The enemy tried to set a trap for you today, a trap designed to steal your peace, to drag you back into that old cycle of fear, anger, or despair, the same cycle you've been stuck in for months, maybe years. The bait was right there, dangling in front of your face, because the enemy knows you. He knows your triggers. He's been studying you for a long time, but then you did something unexpected, something you've never done before, or something you haven't done in a very long time. You didn't react. You didn't bite. And that simple act of defiance, that one moment of choosing peace over chaos, sent a shockwave through the enemy's camp and brought a smile to your father's face. Stay with me, because what you did today wasn't just self-control. It was something much bigger than you realize. Before I tell you why this matters so much, I need you to understand how God feels about you right now. He rejoices over you, not because you're perfect, not because you got everything right today, but because you made a choice that aligned with his heart. Today, you gave him a reason to sing. We usually think we need to do something huge to please God. Fast for 40 days, give away everything we own, move mountains with our faith, perform miracles. But sometimes, and this is what religion gets wrong, the greatest victory is simply standing still when everything inside you wants to scream. The greatest act of faith isn't always doing something big. Sometimes it's not doing the thing you've always done. Now let me help you identify exactly what happened. I'm not talking about a miracle you performed. I'm talking about a moment of restraint, a moment so small you might have already forgotten it. Think back to earlier today. There was a moment, maybe it was a conversation that took a turn, a text message that made your stomach drop, an email that brought bad news, or just a sudden thought that popped into your head, a worry, a fear, a memory of something painful. It was a trigger, and you know exactly what I mean by trigger. It's that thing that usually makes you spiral, the thing that hijacks your mood for hours, the thing that makes you say words you regret or think thoughts that drag you down. The enemy knew this was your trigger. He's used it before, many times. He sent that person, that message, that situation specifically to push that button. He was waiting for the explosion. He was waiting to harvest your peace. But this time, you surprised him. You stopped. You took a breath. And you chose silence. You chose peace. You chose to let God handle it instead of trying to fix it yourself. This is the act that made God smile. You finally trusted him enough to step back, to not defend yourself, to not explain yourself, to not fight a battle that wasn't yours to fight. You let him be God, and that's harder than it sounds, because everything in you wanted to react, everything in you wanted to set the record straight to prove your point, to make them understand. But you didn't, and heaven noticed. You might feel like you just stayed quiet, like it was nothing special, like you just didn't have the energy to argue. But in the spiritual realm, your silence was louder than thunder. Being slow to speak isn't weakness, chosen one. It's wisdom. It's a sign that you're no longer controlled by your emotions. You're learning to master your atmosphere instead of letting your atmosphere master you. Let me be specific, because I feel the Holy Spirit highlighting this for someone watching right now. This wasn't just a random annoyance. This wasn't just a bad moment in a normal day. This was a test you failed many times before. Maybe it was a family member, someone who knows exactly how to get under your skin. They know your wounds. They know which words cut deepest. Today, they made that comment. The one that usually makes you scream or cry, and you just looked at them, or walked away without saying a word. Or maybe it was a financial surprise, a bill you weren't expecting, a delay that threatens everything. Usually this would send you into a panic. You'd lie awake running numbers. You'd call everyone to complain. But today you felt the fear rise up, and then you said, God will provide. And for the first time in a long time, you actually believed it. Or maybe it was even simpler. Someone cut you off in traffic and you let them go. Someone was rude at work, and instead of venting, you prayed for them. These moments seem small, but they're not small to God. Every time you choose peace, you're building something the enemy cannot touch. If any of this sounds like you, if you know deep down that you handled something differently today, I want you to do something. Write in the comments, God is my defense. By typing this, you're declaring something powerful. You're saying that you don't need to defend yourself anymore. You don't need to prove yourself. You don't need to fight every battle, because God has taken over. Here's what I want you to understand about how this works. When you fight, God watches. When you rest, God fights. Today, you rested in the middle of a storm, and that created space for God to step in. That's why He smiled. He's been waiting for you to stop trying to fix everything yourself. He's been waiting for you to trust Him enough to let Him handle it with His power instead of your effort. Your hands are tired because you've been carrying things that were never yours to carry. Your heart is heavy because you've been fighting battles that were never yours to fight. Today, even if just for a moment you put something down, and God picked it up. But there's something deeper happening here, something you need to understand. It's not just about you trusting God. It's about what your silence did to the enemy. You see, the enemy feeds on your reaction. When you get angry, you feed him. When you get afraid, you feed him. When you replay that hurt over and over in your mind, rehearsing what you should have said, imagining conversations that will never happen, you feed him. Your emotional energy is real. And when you spend it on fear, anger, and bitterness, Something dark benefits from that. Today you starved him. You kept your peace inside your own heart. You didn't give it away. You didn't let anyone steal it. And when the enemy doesn't get what he's expecting, he gets confused. You became unpredictable. The script he wrote for your day didn't happen. You rewrote it. Think about this. Every time you screamed in frustration, something was released. Every time you replayed a betrayal in your head, you were giving your present energy to a past that can't be changed. This is why the attacks feel cyclical. Just when you start feeling happy, something happens to ruin it. That's not bad luck. That's a pattern. And today, you broke it. The person who irritated you, they weren't the real enemy. They were just the delivery system. The spirit of chaos used them, used their words, their actions, their attitude to try to extract a reaction from you. But today, you changed the game. When they pushed you, didn't push back. When they poked you, didn't explode. You kept your peace. And that confused everything that was said against you. This brings us back to why God laughed. He laughed because he saw the tables turn. The enemy was setting up a feast. He had his plate ready. He was expecting to dine on your misery, your anger, your fear. But instead, the table was set for you. Your cup didn't spill today. It overflowed. You ate the bread of peace while the enemy watched hungry and confused. The old buttons don't work anymore. Think about that. The same trigger that worked last month didn't work today. The same words that would have destroyed you last year barely touched you now. Something has shifted. The you that was easy to manipulate. That version is fading. A new you is rising. Someone who knows their worth. Someone who refuses to trade their peace for anyone's approval. Someone who has learned that silence is sometimes the loudest statement you can make. Now, I need to give you a gentle warning. When the enemy realizes he can't get to you through people, he doesn't give up. He switches tactics. He knows he can't trigger you when you're awake and guarding your heart, when you're conscious and choosing peace. So he'll try to access you when your guard is down. Tonight, be careful. Don't replay the situation before you fall asleep. Don't second-guess yourself. Don't let doubt whisper that you should have said something, should have defended yourself, should have fought back. You made the right choice today. Stand in that. If thoughts come tonight trying to undo what you built today, recognize them for what they are. They're not your thoughts. They're attempts to steal back what the enemy lost. Just breathe. Remember this moment and rest. But let me take you even deeper, because there's a reason this battle feels so personal. It didn't start with you. It started long before you were born. That reaction you usually have, that sudden burst of anger, that crippling anxiety, that urge to control everything, it's not just a personality trait. Think about your parents. When life pressed them, how did they react? Think about your grandparents. What patterns did they pass down? For generations, the same buttons have been pushed. The same cycles have repeated. The same wounds have been reopened. The enemy found something that worked on your grandfather, so he used it on your father. And he's been using it on you until today. Here's where the good news explodes. You're not just another link in the chain. You're the one who breaks it. When you stood still today, you weren't just changing your day. You were changing your family story. You were saying to that old pattern, "This stops with me. This dysfunction dies in my lifetime. It will not pass to my children." Every cycle has to end somewhere. Every chain has a final link. You might be that link. God smiled because he saw you stepping into who you really are. Not just a survivor, a cycle breaker, a wall repairer, someone who fixes what others broke. I want you to do something with me right now. Close your eyes for a moment. Picture yourself standing in a long hallway. Behind you, stretching back into the shadows, is a line of people. These are your ancestors, your parents, grandparents, great-grandparents. They're holding a heavy chain, old and rusted. This chain represents the fear, the anger, the reactive patterns that have been passed down through your family for generations. Your whole life, you've been holding the end of that chain, dragging it forward, thinking it was just part of who you are, thinking you had no choice. But look at your hands now. Today, God gave you a key. That key is the decision you made, the decision to choose peace when everything in you wanted to choose chaos. In your mind, put that key in the lock. Turn it. Hear the click. Now, drop the chain. Hear it hit the floor. Feel that lightness. You're not dragging the past anymore. You're walking into something new. Now that you've let go, you might feel strange, a sudden energy, a lightness you haven't felt in years. That's the feeling of a soldier who finally put down a heavy pack after a long march. But don't get too comfortable yet. We're not just here to heal. We're here to grow, to become who we were always meant to be. You've dropped the burden. That means you're now light enough to move forward, to run, to fight the battles that actually matter. Up until now, you've used silence as a shield. You stayed quiet to protect your peace. But here's what's beautiful. Your peace isn't just protection, it's power. When you refuse to react today, you didn't just block a blow. You showed the enemy something he wasn't expecting. A person who doesn't get triggered, a person who stays calm in the storm, a person whose joy doesn't depend on circumstances. That's terrifying to the kingdom of darkness, because they don't know how to fight that. Silence builds pressure. Think about Joshua and the walls of Jericho. God gave him the strangest battle plan in history. No weapons, no war cries, no siege towers, just marching in silence around the city for 6 days. Imagine being inside those walls, looking down at an army that isn't screaming threats or shooting arrows, just walking silently, confidently, day after day. That silence was heavy. It built pressure. It drove the enemy insane, wondering what was coming. And when the moment finally came to shout, the walls fell flat. This is what you're doing when you refuse to argue with people trying to provoke you. Your silence is building something. Every time you want to snap back but hold your tongue, you're adding power to your breakthrough. And when the moment comes to finally speak, it will be powerful, not because you yelled, but because you waited. But silence is just part of it. The real weapon, the one the enemy has no defense against, is joy. I know that sounds strange. How can you have joy when you're under attack, when bills are piling up, when relationships are falling apart, when nothing seems to be going right? That's exactly the point. The enemy attacks to produce misery. That's his whole strategy. Make you sad, make you angry, make you hopeless. Then feed on that. When you respond to an attack with joy instead of despair, you flip everything upside down. Joy isn't just a nice feeling, it's a fortress. When you stay in joy, you're inside something the enemy cannot breach. Think about how frustrating this is for him. He throws his best shot: financial trouble, relationship drama, health scares, betrayal, loss. And instead of collapsing, you smile. Instead of worry, music, you turn on worship music. Instead of panicking, you praise. He doesn't know how to fight that. He only knows how to fight fear. When you bring joy to the battlefield, you're using a weapon he's never seen before. So here's where you stand now. You have silence as your shield. You have joy as your strength. You have peace as your foundation. You're different than you were yesterday. Something shifted today, and you can feel it. One final thing before I let you go. There's a word I want to give you. A single word that carries everything we've talked about. When the enemy comes back to test you, and he will, you don't need a long prayer. You don't need to argue or explain. Today God smiled at you, not because you were perfect, but because you trusted him. Tomorrow things are going to shift. You'll see it. Doors that were closed will open. Relationships that were strained will soften. Clarity will come where there was confusion. Because you passed the test. And a person who has learned to stay peaceful when chaos comes knocking, that's someone heaven celebrates. It is finished. And you're just getting started.